Welcome to our Mothers Out Front Massachusetts Climate Action Call. I am Diane Sokol. I'm a member of the Mothers Out Front Brookline chapter, and I also work with the statewide campaign team. For those who are not familiar with these Mothers Out Front climate action calls, in the next 45 minutes, you will learn about a specific climate issue, and we will take focused action together. Today, we will be learning how current federal actions have impacted the important air quality work of our East Boston Mothers Out Front chapter. We will take action together today to support our East Boston chapter members in this moment and advocate for state legislation to protect our immigrant community members. Here's a quick preview of the agenda for our climate action call. After a brief overview of today's focus, we will divide into small breakout groups to have a chance to connect with each other. When we return to the main room, we will hear from Sonja Tengblad about her experiences both in East Boston and in Minneapolis. Then we'll move on to our priorities and our action. We've set aside about 15 minutes of this call to take action together. And then we will come back for a few important announcements and next steps. And we will end this meeting promptly at 12:45. We do hope you'll stay until the end. Before we get going, I'll quickly go over a few norms for this meeting. Please rename yourself in Zoom to include your city or town, and if you like, an organization you're with. Be sure to mute yourself when we are together in the main room if you are not already muted. You can use the chat to share comments or questions during the call. And closed captioning is available. You should be able to access that tool at the bottom of the screen. And finally, we are recording this climate action call. If you do not want to be seen in the recording, please use the Zoom controls to turn off your video. And I will now hand over the presentation to Rachel Wyon, the coordinator of our environmental justice team and a member of the Jamaica Plain chapter.
Thank you, Diane. Our environmental justice team is hosting this climate action call. This team acts as a resource for Mothers Out Front chapters and campaigns, helping to support the work of marginalized communities as they address the unjust impacts of environmental degradation and climate change in their communities. The current attacks on our democracy and our immigrant communities are having a devastating, heartbreaking effect on immigrants and others, as we know. These also affect our climate work in many ways. And this climate action call shows one aspect, how these attacks have impacted our organizing work in a frontline majority Latino neighborhood in East Boston. Now we'll have a brief community breakout, an opportunity to take a few minutes to connect in a small group with a few other participants. Say hello, introduce yourselves, and share what brought you to this call. Deb, can you put this question in the chat? Thanks. Be sure that each person gets a chance to speak, and when you see the 15-second countdown, use that time to wrap up your conversations. You'll automatically rejoin the main room. Now, have a great time connecting. We'll see you back here in about 5 minutes. Welcome back. Great. I hope that you all had some good conversations, and we're so glad that you're here today. Our speaker today is Sonja Tengblad, our dedicated East Boston chapter co-coordinator, who has been leading an air quality campaign there for many years. The team has been providing air filters in the East Boston schools and daycares, taking on the pollution from Logan Airport, helping out on World Asthma Day events, and much more. We're so very glad to have you here, Sonja. Over to you.
Thanks, Rachel, and it's really great to be here with all of you today. So I'm a native Minnesotan living in East Boston, where I'm the co-coordinator of the Mothers Out Front East Boston team. And my worlds have converged in dramatic ways this year. 1 year ago, in February 2025, just weeks after President Trump's inauguration, ICE significantly increased its operations here in East Boston. Attendance at my son's school plummeted, as it did across all schools in our neighborhood. Principals were going door to door to tell families it was safe to send their children to school. That fear has not gone away. By September, due to all this and also increasing food insecurity among our neighbors, our team made a difficult decision. We paused our air quality campaign, work we deeply believe in, because our neighbors were facing too many daily emergencies. Getting people to mobilize around air quality and environmental policy almost seemed downright insensitive. When I initially met with my co-coordinator, a person of color, to talk to them about pausing our work, I noticed they were constantly scanning parked cars and watching people around us. That level of vigilance changes a community. So we pivoted. Members of my team began supporting groups like the East Boston Crisis Response Fund, Mutual Aid Eastie, and the East Boston Soup Kitchen. They started focusing on food distribution, rides to doctor's appointments, and safe accompaniment. Because when fear reshapes daily life, organizing has to meet people where they are. When my husband, son, and I were back home in Minneapolis visiting family and friends over the holidays, ICE began kidnapping thousands of residents, and then the shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy happened. We stood with 3,000 others at Powderhorn Park at one of the first massive protests, the next one growing to 50,000. At first, it all seemed so disheartening, and of course, it still is. But so quickly, a level of extreme hope and inspiration filled me, watching how quickly people mobilized on both small and massive scales. And still 2 months later, their strategic, creative, and sustained organizing continues to inspire me and so many of you. And look at all the ways they've organized. Through singing outside trapped immigrants' houses, through marching bands loudly playing outside ICE hotels, through delivering breast milk to infants, through collecting donations for rent payments, through only ordering at immigrant-owned restaurants, through meeting released detainees outside Whipple Detention Center to give them coats and phones, through aerial view artistic protests, and through mobilizing over 100 drummers to take over street corners in Minneapolis. The level of creativity is so inspiring. Many people on the ground there have said that this kind of mobilization was only possible because of years of relationship building, especially the surge of organizing after the murder of George Floyd. Because of all this, people already knew each other. They trusted each other and they knew how to move together. That's the lesson I carry back to Massachusetts. Minnesota showed me that when crisis comes, communities with strong relationships can respond immediately and powerfully. And this isn't anything new to Mothers Out Front. In fact, it's the very foundation we're built on since our inception. From the very beginning, Mothers Out Front has centered relationship building. Not just campaigns, not just policy wins, but real trust between neighbors. We've invested in one-on-ones, in listening, in leadership development, and showing up for each other long before emergencies hit. And Minneapolis reminds us why that matters. In East Boston right now, one of the most powerful actions residents are taking is Courthouse Watch. ICE agents have been detaining people after court appointments, so neighbors are being trained to show up inside and outside the courthouse to offer safe escort to people's cars and to offer witness. Some others are becoming Luce verifiers, others are delivering food, driving people to medical appointments, checking in. This is sustained, courageous, relationship-based action and the bedrock of Mothers Out Front.
Sorry. And now we stand in solidarity with the families, loved ones, and communities demanding accountability. As the National Mothers Out Front team stated, Mothers Out Front stands for the protection of all children, regardless of immigration status, race, income, or zip code. This commitment does not waver. A community that is unsafe for some children is unsafe for all. We will continue to speak out, share resources, and support action that prioritizes safety and care. Many of us are already involved in this work, And the actions that we take on this call today will give us an opportunity to act together. In our current State House session, there is a proposed bill, HD 5608, called the PROTECT Act, put forward by the Black and Latino Caucus. This act would prohibit civil immigration arrests at courthouse, schools, hospitals, and places of worship, prevent state and local officials from sharing personal information with ICE, protect the civil rights, including legal representation and safety of all Massachusetts residents, especially vulnerable immigrants. And coincidentally, there is a hearing on this act tomorrow, starting at 11 a.m. at the State House in hearing room B1. We encourage anyone who can on such late notice to attend in person or virtually. It's also not too late to submit written testimony. The link to watch the hearing and instructions on written testimony are in the toolkit. Now it is time for our action today. We will be taking action on the PROTECT Act and ways we can help protect our communities. Our first action today will be emailing our state rep about the PROTECT Act. We need to make sure that this bill moves quickly through the legislature, since our neighbors are being harmed daily, kidnapped from courthouses without judicial warrants, and held in detention in unimaginably poor conditions for weeks and months. Let's do what many other states have done and pass legislation that ends the involvement of our public safety officials in civil immigration matters and limits the power of ICE in our state. Our second action will be signing on to a petition from the Luce Immigration Justice Network of Massachusetts. This petition tells Chief Justices Budd and Krieger, Senate President Spilka, and House Speaker Mariano that our state government has a responsibility to do everything in its power to stop its courts from being used as staging grounds for targeting and handing over our community members to federal immigration officers. A simple bonus action we can all do is saving the Luce hotline number on your phone. No training is needed to call the hotline if you suspect you see ICE or are witnessing an abduction. Deb will put the link for the action toolkit in the chat. Click on the link in that chat to open the toolkit. Read the short background paragraph, then follow the simple steps to customize and send an email to your state rep. If your state representative has co-sponsored the PROTECT Act, be sure to thank them. The toolkit also provides the link to sign the Luce petition and add their hotline number to your phone. In the resources section at the bottom, there are ways that you can donate to nonprofit community support organizations and additional ways to take action. Deb, can you put the link to our toolkit into the chat again? We will have about 15 minutes to take our action.
So we're at the end of our action time. You can certainly finish later if you need more time for this action. I really appreciate that we were all able to take action together today on this important issue. Protecting our communities and strengthening our democracy form the foundation of promoting climate action. These calls make me so helpful about our future. Every month, we build our movement a little bit bigger, a little stronger. We raise our voices a little louder, and a few more decision makers sit up and listen. That is the power of our movement. Later today, you will receive a follow-up email. It will have the toolkit we shared today, these slides, and a recording of this call. We encourage you to forward that email to others in your network across the state. Tell your friends and your neighbors about what you learned today. We have a few announcements of a whole bunch of upcoming events. We have a busy calendar for the next month, so stay tuned. First, as we mentioned earlier, there is a State House hearing tomorrow on the PROTECT Act starting at 11 a.m. We encourage anyone who can attend in person or virtually to get to hearing room B1 it's best to enter the side entrance of the State House off of Bowden Street, and this is the view of what you would see. Deb will include a link for more information, and you will also find this information in the resources section of the toolkit. And we hope that many of you will be able to join the Mothers Out Front Massachusetts statewide assembly. This event will be held on Sunday, March 8th, next weekend, from 1 to 5 in the afternoon, and it's being held at Framingham State University. And there's an optional group dinner afterward as well. Our keynote speaker will be Massachusetts Attorney General Andrea Campbell. Last year's event was full of joy and connections across the state. So Deb will put the RSVP link in the chat. You need to RSVP ahead of time to attend that event. And be sure to speak with other members in your chapter or your neighborhood to organize carpools to the location. Every month, Mothers Out Front hosts a welcome call the second Friday at noon. So we have one coming up next Friday, March 13th at noontime. If you have ever asked yourself, what more could I be doing to stop climate change? Then you should join us on this call. We will work to help you identify the U-shaped hole in this movement. We want to help you find ways you can use your unique talents, your skills, and your experiences to build a stronger, more effective, more inclusive movement for change. So join us next Friday and bring a friend. Deb will also put that link in the chat. And I apologize that I forgot to put in one slide. The end of March, March 28th on a Saturday, there's the next big No Kings mobilization, and Mothers Out Front will be organizing a statewide or many statewide groups for that. So watch your Switch the Source and other Mothers Out Front emails for details about that. But finally, we do want this climate action call to be on your calendar every month. And Deb, can you drop this final link into the chat? Our next climate action call will be April 7th at noontime. You can RSVP now to get this in your calendar. You won't want to miss it. That is all of our announcements for the upcoming month. I want to thank our environmental justice team and our East Boston chapter coordinator, Sonja Tengblad, for sharing these issues and actions with us today. Very inspiring. And many thanks to all of you for joining today. We hope to see you again soon at one of those many events in the month of March. Thank you.